Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. My name is Oluyemi Adeosun. Tonight, we have with us Deborah Dumbiri, and she will be taking us on the topic from marginalization to empowerment, how HR can support pregnant and single employees without stigma. Now, I'll just read her profile. She's one of our core team members here with us at HR Mentorship, and she has over a decade experience across both Nigeria and South Africa, and she's deeply committed to transforming employee experience, making organizational impact through data-driven strategies. She has had the privilege over the years of, designing and delivering people solutions. Currently, she's an employee experience, payroll, and L&D specialist at TGI District Limited, a TGI group company, and she has led so many HR and management initiatives. She's an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria and also a member of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. She is currently pursuing her SHRM SCP training also at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking to us on the topic from marginalization to empowerment, how HR can support pregnant and single employee without stigma. I present to us Deborah Dumbiri.
Thank you so much, Dr. Oluyemi Adeosun, for the introduction. And it's a privilege for me to be here, and I do not take it for granted. Yes, so this topic is an interesting one, and a colleague already dealt with a part of it, which was so interesting. I listened in, and the experiences she shared was really wow and was worth it. So I will follow through this topic. Now, when we talk about this topic, it brings to memory a number of things for me because I'll be speaking more on the place of experience. So I've experienced firsthand pregnancy. I've experienced being pregnant and working several times, not once, not twice, not thrice. And for me, I'll be speaking from that place of what I've experienced more, and from a secondhand experience, of course, what my colleagues have experienced, what people that I know firsthand have experienced. Okay, so when we talk about marginalization, what comes to mind? The first thing that came to my mind when I saw the word marginalization was my colleague, which I worked with several years ago. She was due for promotion first. She was promised, when she came into the business, she was promised, oh, you'll be moved to a role after 6 months. Don't worry, these are planned. You are you are preparing for a succession plan. There is a role that we have kept for you. A number of promises. And she said she didn't go into the organization because of those promises, because of course, men can fail. But she went into the organization because she really wanted to work with that organization. At the same time, she really would love those promises to come to pass. So one thing led to the other. After 6 months, she was not moved. She was doing well, quite all right, because she was a friend and a colleague. We worked together. So it's not like a story of, a fairy tale kind of. So I experienced it with her firsthand. I experienced shook me, right? So she was doing greatly. She was great in her job. In fact, I would say she's one of my mentors because she's very, very perseverant. She's strong in the HR field. What then happened? After a few years, a role then came up because it was not supposed to be up to a few years. So a role came up and they were like, oh, right now you're going to move you to the role. You have to apply and then do internal application. Then we'll move you, we'll do interviews. She did the role, she did the interview. The interview feedback came out great, and but not communicated because she aced the interview according to her. but she wasn't communicated to whether she passed or not, right? So the management were like, okay, we'll get back to you on the results of this interview. She was like, okay, but she knew she did very greatly. Along the line, before they could even reach out to her, she found out she was pregnant. And now the law in that company, the policy was that once you get pregnant, you should declare. She found out she was pregnant and she had to declare. So she declared that she was pregnant to her manager. And as a result, the promotion never got to her again. She was not communicated to whether she passed or failed, even if she was still, even as she was pregnant. Like, okay, you passed because you're still going to be communication, right? It wasn't communicated because I guess at that point, the management would not like to lie to say you didn't pass when you passed. But the problem was the pregnancy. So she was so like sad. Deborah, am I going to do this? I'm pregnant. I know this promotion will not come to me again. I was like, no, 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 it would. It would come to, I was giving her hope. I didn't know it was going to be its false hope that I was giving to her at that point. So pregnancy started growing. Then interviews came externally, and somebody got the role and came to the business. External, someone from outside the business was later hired for the role. If you ask me the reason for that, that is because of our pregnancy. So, because I am pregnant, I cannot be given a promotion. And I'm doing greatly. Because I'm pregnant, I cannot be given certain privileges. Or because I'm single, I'm a single lady, I cannot be allowed flexible time to work. I cannot go home at 5 p.m. What are you going to do? You're a single lady. Because I'm a single lady, I am no longer responsible. I don't have a life except work because I'm a single lady. So this stigma continues, is something we cannot um, push out the system. It is something we as humans should watch out for, even companies, not just human resources that we are or professionals that we are, but we need to look at this in total because it's really it's disturbing. It disturbed my friend so much. And I have a number of experiences to share from myself, and I'll mention when I'm sharing that these experiences are actually coming from me, you know. So I would like to continue um, with what I have here, even if I might not really dwell on the slides, because I would like us to share experiences from left and right. Now, the objective of this webinar is one of the goals is to shift the narrative from marginalization to empowerment, to explore how HR and business leaders can create a workplace that can support these people instead of stigmatizing or instead of stigma, can replace support with stigma, policies that promote equality and people feel seen and valued no matter their circumstances, whether you are pregnant or not pregnant. Being pregnant is not a sickness. I would like to share something quickly. For me, for example, each time I am pregnant, I don't lack on my job. Yes, it is not pride. People who lack on their jobs when they are pregnant, it does not make them less a human. It just means that our body works differently. Our body bringing life or better life would change differently. I would normally jump from bus to bus when I was pregnant for my first and for my second before I started driving. Even when I was driving for my third, I was driving till my bedtime. And people were like, this your stomach is too big. I want you to stop driving. Won't you stop driving? I have a colleague that would drive herself to the hospital to give birth. She's that strong. And the kind of job she does then was a field job. She would always be on the field. She's pregnant. She would always be on the field. So it is not all the time that we have negative circumstances during pregnancy. I am an example. I never had any negativity during pregnancy. Yes, I have my low times, my breakdown times, my sleepless nights, yes, my dozing off a bit times, but not like because of my pregnancy, I won't be going to work. Never. Because of my pregnancy, I won't be able to function. Never. I used to be very active, and even during my pregnancy is when I want to write certain exams. My brains are very, very sharp, open, and at that point. So it differs from people to people. Why some people during their pregnancy is when they are sicky, yes, it's not their fault. When they are in the hospital, I have a friend as well, not stories, that was in the hospital from the third month of her pregnancy, and she must be in the hospital. Why some have to resign because they are pregnant? They have to take that break in their career. Yes. So it's not because they are weak women, no, but it's because of their body and they need support. In fact, all pregnant women, whether their body is good or not so good, or they are going to the hospital or not, they all need support. So, understanding marginalization, I've spoken about this a bit. Yeah, the lady on the picture might be pregnant and feeling, oh, how do I cope? With a lot of job work and the pregnancy, you know, and this would impact her, exclusion from power, like I've mentioned, on the lady, on my friend, not on the lady, just a random person. She is currently now not in Nigeria, even she's outside Nigeria. On opportunities, on respect, on opportunities in what sense? In Nigeria is where I hear that when you are pregnant, you cannot get a job. If the job you are currently doing, there is this segregation or marginalization, there is this not supporting, and you feel like they are not promoting me and I'm supposed to be promoted. Maybe there's a rule to that. But because I'm pregnant, they are not promoting me anymore. Let me leave the company. If you leave for good, you stay at home with your pregnancy because you would not get a job. It's in Nigeria that I know that you won't get a job when you are pregnant because of the mindset. Pregnant people are weak people. Pregnant people cannot cope. Pregnant people, you know, they are being passed over for promotions. Single ones as well are not left out. Single ones are facing inflexible work schedules because you are single. What are you going to do at home, like I've mentioned? Comments or jokes that questions a woman's readiness. Are you really ready? You are ready for this role? Are you sure you are ready to be a team lead? This one that you would be pregnant very soon. Once the woman is married, there's a problem. You know, how does it impact employees? Now, we'll look at a two-way thing. I understand that business owners, especially small businesses, would also feel the pain somehow because of the nature of their business. The reason why I have a business is so that I get profits. It's not so that I nurture pregnant women, right? Yes, we understand. We understand the pain or the place of there is no someone to do the job when this person is pregnant and weak and going to the hospital now and then. We understand. So we'll also look at things for so it's a two-way webinar. We'll look at how to help business owners to cushion the effect of what they are going through also, and how to help them create some policies, what they can actually do to cushion the effect of having not to support pregnant women. But let's look at the other way first, and then we end with the other part. Now, what is the impact of on employees on this marginalization? It has this emotional distress. Yes, burnout, low self-esteem. Because I'm pregnant now, I don't think I can do it. My lab manager just spoke to me that way. She feels disappointed in me. He feels disappointed in me, and all that. Increased turnover or absenteeism. Yes, some will often go to the hospital. You know, I've worked with a pregnant lady that she was told she has 20% blood and that she needs to rest automatically, just like that. She went for antenatal today. and your doctor checked and said, you look pale. Let's check your blood, 20%. Automatically, the doctor just wrote, you need to stop work for 1 week, go rest. That is so like sudden. It's not planned. Like, okay, let me go back to my office to inform them I have low blood, that I'll be off. She just had to pick up her phone and make that call to the HR. So cases like that, right? So it will increase such, you understand, decreased productivity and engagement. Yes, yes, it does. Productivity, not so much for some pregnant women, but engagement, of course. Disconnection from company culture, yes, because your leg is swollen as a pregnant woman. You might not be supposed to wear shoe on a Monday morning, and my legs are swollen. You will see me on a Sunday. I'm not going to wear a cover shoe because my legs are swollen. So you are going to accommodate me that way. So even if the company's culture is everybody on a Monday morning dress on shirt, my stomach is very big, cannot dress on shirt. So these are the things that could happen. Why does this matter? Why does this topic of marginalization or what we are talking about, why does it matter? Business and human value, inclusive cultures outperform non-inclusive ones in innovation and retention. Diversity beyond categories. Here we look at diversity not just gender or race, including life situations and family structures. So, attracting top talents, companies that support all employees attract top talent and build stronger reputation. You might even interview talents. You might interview people who maybe women who are five women, and a particular woman stood out in the interview. So immediately you find out that, oh, this person is pregnant, you switch to the next candidate, even if you are sure that your interview was fair and you are sure that that particular person came out top in the interview. She did greatly. But just because she's pregnant, you are going to go for a lesser candidate who is not very strong, right? What is the HR role in driving change? When it comes to policies, when it comes to being inclusive, when it comes to leading or supporting women who are pregnant. This session will dive into the critical role of human resource in fostering an inclusive environment for all employees, particularly pregnant and single individuals. HR leaders are uniquely positioned to drive meaningful change through policy, training, and cultural initiatives. That is our job as human resources. It is not that time that we'll begin to say that, ah, eh, even if our policy, but we don't have any policy guiding this particular thing. We are not sure that being pregnant is allowed, or I heard of a company that said hiring a woman, they'll give you a form to fill, and they'll say you are going to sign that you will not get pregnant in the first 3 years or 4 years, something like that. Yes, something like that in Nigeria. It's happening, where they'll give you a form, you would sign and agree that giving birth for you would not happen in the next 3 to 4 years. And this is not something you you are married, and this is not something you have even control over. So you have to start guiding yourself against giving birth in the next 3 to 4 years, because this is what it is. This is the reality. This is only a way to get this job, right? So that is where we'll dive into looking at how we can make inclusive environments, how we can make our environment inclusive for whether pregnant, single, or everyone. Now, looking at policy reformation, if, for example, the company where you work as an HR person or as a professional do not have this in place, it is time to readily put it in place. It is time to speak to the management. It is time to speak to your line manager or the head of HR or the director about this. So we need to talk about support. We need to add this to our policies so that it is clearly stated. So it's not we do for one, we don't do for one thing, or we allow one to go this way, we don't allow one to go this way, even if our circumstances are different. Now, looking at equitable parental leave, offer equitable parental leave for all expecting employees. Yes, even for men, and men will be happy with this. Yes, because when your wife gives birth, it is not just the woman that will be taking care of the baby. The man is also involved. How? Nights, the man is not resting. I have a colleague right now that when the wife gave birth, I was like, your face is looking somehow. It's like you didn't sleep or something. Ah, we used to share it too. This night I do. The next day, my wife's turn. I was like, why do you do that? She said, "Ah, she has to rest too. We don't have any help to assist. The help we have only takes care of the toddler during the day, and at night she goes to her house. So I cannot leave my wife to do everything, so I have to assist. I was even gisting with him. I was like, oh, can you change diaper? Can you feed babies? I can do it. So I'm serious. I'm not joking. He was relating that he can change diaper very well and feed the baby. Once the baby's milk is ready, he wakes up that night. In fact, he sleeps with the baby in a different room for that night. This is so nice, right? So that kind of employee now, you are saying is a man, maybe you born the pikin. You are not the one that gave birth to the child. Like you are not the one nursing the baby, but this guy is actually supported. So we should also have that in place, right? Single parent specific support could be also on the angle of single employees that are not even married, that have a child. Yes. So we cannot say, "Ah, because you are not married or you are pregnant, you are just talking about marriage." That is not good. We cannot do that. We cannot judge anyone based on that. That is their life. Is their life, is their choices, and we cannot decide for people, right? So we should also have this time off, allow them this time off as well. Inclusive language can update language in policies to reflect inclusivity, parent instead of spouse. Yes, so we can also do that. So even if some companies or many companies would not have this, it is good that we have it just so that we are on track. So let's look at manager training. Manager training, we need to respond with empathy. We need to train line managers in a way that they respond in empathy, not assumption. I have a friend, like I told you, I'll relate more because I keep many female friends. I have female colleagues. This is my close friend as well. She got pregnant. She gave, and the policy in that company is 4 months maternity leave. She went on 4 months maternity leave, right? That's why I said humans' body are different. She went on 4 months maternity leave. Coming back, she found out she was pregnant. Immediately, so she didn't know she was pregnant. She just resumed, "Oh, welcome from your 4 months maternity leave." Everybody was happy. "Welcome, we love to see you again." And just maybe 1 week or 2 weeks later, she was like, "Deborah, I'm pregnant." I thought she was joking, or it's April Fool. Like, "Ah, but this is not April now. What is all this? What are you saying?" "I'm pregnant." I was like, eh? Even I couldn't even hold it. Like, I was even already like trying to judge her, like, but you just went to leave. You just finished leave now. Why are you pregnant?" Like, I couldn't, like, I was like, again, like, I was shocked. She was like, "I have to abort this pregnancy. I have to abort this pregnancy." Hey. So the fear was not even the pregnancy. She can carry the pregnancy. The fear was, what will my manager say? I just left work for 4 months. Now I'm coming back with pregnancy. I said, calm down. If you want to abort the pregnancy, let it be from your own, let it be your personal decision from your own thoughts. Like, not because somebody will say something or your manager will be angry or somebody will push you or something like that, or somebody will insult you or assume or not empathize with you, your deal, because for her it wasn't good. even if pregnancy is a good news for many, but at that point, it wasn't a good one, right? So I encouraged her. I said, speak to your manager, speak to him. She went, spoke to the line manager. Luckily, the man was the professional, he's an HR professional. He was or he is a very good listener and a supportive person, you know. That was why I had to encourage her to do that. And all well and good, everything came out well. No issue of stigma. Why would you get pregnant after just 4 months? Nothing like that. No assumptions. We're like, oh, so what's your plan? What do you want to do? Do you want to keep it or what? It's like, no, I want to keep it, but the job. Said, no, 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 if it's the job, leave the job. You can cope. Started like encouraging her. I was like, oh, you see, and when she came out from the meeting, she was like, oh, thank God you told me to go to him. I really, so this is a relief. Thank God. She was happy. So now, what would your company do if this happens to you or someone in your company? After 3 months, 4 months leave, the person is coming back. So we need to train our managers, even if it's going to hit on the company somehow, even if there will be maybe something to tilt here and there for the employees to say, okay, because of this, we do this, we reduce this for this win-win thing, you know, that should be the game. That should be the aim. That should be what the goal should look like, not assumption, not, oh, you are pregnant again. Is this how you are? What is this? You are a professional woman. If you want to follow professionalism, follow professionalism. If you know you don't want to follow professionalism, just resign and stay at home and be giving birth. You just came back for 4 months leave, and that should not be it. But for some line managers, of course, that would be it, right? So role play conversation also can help. Role play difficult conversations like announcing pregnancy, requesting flexibility. Recognize unconscious bias. We need to teach our line managers, teach our leaders, our managers to recognize unconscious bias around singlehood or pregnancy. Sometimes we do this out of nowhere. Our mind just, in fact, I already did it to my friend. You know, I was like, just like in my subconscious state. Now, just 4 months leave. You're now, how many months do you work for the company now? You know, it's these things happen. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it does happen. So we should be ready to train our managers to fit in this role, especially for HR professionals who even do this. Some HR professionals would even be in these shoes of judging, of not empathizing, of being biased, you know, they would be in these shoes. So we want to guide against it. We want to try. Three, communication and culture. It's time for us to normalize various life paths in internal messaging. Look at how this message, this communication, or this employee would feel looking at the message that has been passed from the communication department. You know, putting the consideration of the single ones in play, putting their thoughts into consideration. Singlehood is not a disease. So because she's single or he's single, then hell should break loose. No. Celebrate milestones inclusively. So without any stereotypes, without, oh, she's pregnant, oh, she's single. You know, we needed to call a dinner for what do they call it now? This award night. We want spouses, that's couples to be there. Single ones, they will just know they should not come. Those kind of things, right? You should make sure we don't stereotype. We don't have any reason to leave out anyone. We should just have this culture of being inclusive. Or invite open storytelling, spotlight on single and parent employees. This would also help them, would engage them, and help them to feel part of the business, help them to feel welcomed. That, oh, it's not because you are single, you are left out. It's not because you are single. or because you are pregnant, we don't want to invite you for certain functions. Oh, she's pregnant, you know she's pregnant. How does being pregnant affect my attending the function in peace? Something like that. Or this meeting is not for you. She's pregnant. It's not for pregnant people. So this should be part of what we should watch out for. Support system. Support system. We should have employees resources groups for parents and caregivers. We have one in my organization. We have one where, like more like a crèche that supports, parents who just that women who just give birth, their support system, that can help them. Groups can create groups that can assist these women, can help them through the journey. It's not, it doesn't have to be expensive. Mentorship program as well. Offer mentorship for pregnant or single employees navigating career transition. And also offer support, mentorship to them. Don't stigmatize. Don't say because they are pregnant, because they are single, they cannot understand this part. They cannot understand that part, right? Because, like I said before now, I have felt this firsthand. I have once worked when I was pregnant. So all through my pregnancies, I was working. I have been working all through my pregnancy. I work all through my pregnancy. I never stopped like any point to say I'm taking a break because I'm pregnant, right? So I worked with a boss that the boss is married, he's a man, he's a male boss. He's married with kids. So he understands what it means for a woman to be pregnant because he has also experienced this firsthand. But I found out that whenever I want to go on on sorry, not maternity leave, when I want to go on antenatal, because you as a boss, you already know that your subordinate is pregnant. You are married, and you know when your wife was your wife was pregnant, she went for antenatal, right? Once a week, once a month. So depending on the trimester, first trimester, once a month, as it progresses, once twice in a month, as it progresses weekly, and all that. You already know, right? As a man, because your wife will have spoken to you about some such things. Now, a female subordinate is pregnant and she's requesting for a day off in a month for that particular purpose, and you are requesting for her to show you the appointment card. That is not anywhere in the policy, so that I do not have a question or get a question like, oh, maybe it's in the policy. Because at that point, there were other colleagues in the same business that were pregnant. And that female colleague had to speak to other colleagues to say, what's going on with you? Is your boss requesting for your appointment every now and then? Because I think the female colleague, the female lady that the boss was requesting for the appointment card, was not really comfortable with it, but she just had to do it because me, I never see job for Dangote now. I've not seen a job in the oil company. So I have to just do it. But she was not comfortable, right? But she had to request from other colleagues that were still pregnant to say, what are you doing in your department? Are you doing the same thing? These are two different departments. So she was like, no. So my guy really already knows that once in a month, I've told her the day, I go for my time for antenatal. So and I just tell her I'm leaving and she asks me to go. Like, okay. So at that point, the lady was really confused. Like, in the same company, one person's boss is requesting that if you don't give me your appointment card, you are not ready to go. While the other person's boss is allowing without even appointment card because we know that you must go for. Antenatal is a must. It's not like you may go for. You understand? So this is part of what we are saying. So create that support. So access to resources, ensure access to mental health resources, flexible work arrangements should in case that employee needs it. Just like this case of a day off in a month, which will not really, it won't really tell on the business. It won't tell on the business. So business owners, HR managers do well to support their pregnancy, knowing that pregnancy is not forever. Yes, it is not forever. It is for a period of time. empowerment in practice. Now, I would like to have just two people share briefly any experience they've had. It might be personal experience or an experience of a friend or a colleague around what we have just spoken about. Could be global or locally. Anyone, any person. If you want to speak, you can unmute and speak of your experience. Can be a male or a female speaking, no problems. I need two persons to share experience related to what we have on ground. Hello, are we there?
I can't see any hands, so please let's raise our hands so that we can contribute. Thank you.
Yes. Please raise your hand so that I feel that someone is actually listening apart from doctor. Is
JK
anyone
would like to
speaking?
share.
All right,
JK would
please.
like to share, and she can
All right.
unmute.
Okay.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Deborah, for this topic, and thank you, Doctor, for this platform. My experience was 7 years back when I was going to have my first child. Well, I actually had both of my children abroad. When I was going to have my first child, I took my maternity leave in August because the EDD that was given, that is the expected date of time of delivery, was, I thought it would be the first week in September. So I took my leave in August and went to UK. The whole of August, the baby didn't come. September, the baby didn't come. I remember that I was at home until October 1. She eventually came on October 1. By then, I'd already used like almost 2 months of my leave, and I needed to resume in about another month's time. I thought I didn't have a choice. You understand? And unfortunately, or fortunately, the doctors and nurses said that because she's going to an area that they consider to have tropical risks, well, they were afraid of malaria that I grew up with. They were like, she has to take a particular boost shot and that she has to be 6 before she takes that shot. I was really in a quandary because I was aware that my time was going. Eventually, I ended up spending like 4 months before she could get the booster, before we could come back to Nigeria. And when I resumed, my mind was not at rest until I resumed. But I'll tell you what happened. One of the most fantastic HR people that I know, a CIPM certified person, had actually had a conversation because I came back, because I wrote to them. I sent a mail explaining, but I wasn't sure to be done because it had not been done before. The HR person had actually had a discussion with the COO and the MD. And when I came, I was told that because of my case, that they had adjusted the policy to say that if for any reason you need to take your annual leave in the same year with your maternity leave, it's possible. Because before our policy was like, once you take maternity leave, you cannot add annual leave. That was how I was able to resume, and I didn't lose my pay. Years later, when I see other people have issues, I realize that if not for that timely intervention, I probably would have resumed with a new baby, stressed, and still have to face the issue of I'm not getting a pay for another 1 month. So I want to say that sometimes the HR book can make a difference if they're ready to go the extra mile. I know it wasn't done once. I was told that he went back like twice and said, sir, please let's consider this. But it was done in the end. If it had not been done, babe, I don't know what would have happened to me that time, but that was my experience then. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Ajoke. Thank you. Oh, Patrick is raising up his hands or her hand. Can you unmute, please? Eto, Patrick.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
My
good
name is
evening.
Patrick. Yeah, I just want to contribute, add to what you have been discussing. So interesting and very, very enlightening. My own little contribution is that, just like what you have been saying so far, communication. I find out that with my little years of experience spanning about 20-something years, I find out that in this part of the world, the way we look at the way staff, especially unquote, the way they perceive maternity, they see it as something you have to hide to yourself. They don't want to discuss. They don't want to bring it to the forefront. I've had a lot of experiences, even when in my own case, once I engage a female staff, during the onboarding process, I take time myself to discuss with the female talents. I will tell you, look, we have policies, this or that, in case you need this, you need that, but feel free to discuss with your HR or admin, irrespective of your basic unit you are. But what do we see most times? I don't know, maybe it's cultural, unquote. You find that female staff, when they are married, whether when they are pregnant, at times they want to hide information. And when you hide information, how will the HR department assist you? I love it when you discuss about a particular woman that had a child on resumption after 4 months, she was pregnant. If not for engagement and discussion between you and her, there is no way that staff will have scaled through, because it's going to cause problem, because she will be discussing different things with the line manager, and the line manager at times they want to do one thing, cover up. At the end of the day, they push her into the big ocean. So my own contribution is that at any time, any talent, anywhere you are working, whether you are sick, whether you are pregnant, or you have any issue, feel free to utilize your HR department. Many of our talent in our respective places of work, they see HR as they are too policy making. I only tell them in my place of work, they know. I said, we are all human beings. We have human face, and our policies are human face policy. But in a situation when the staff in question, you know, your EDD day is about a week, and even in the policy, you have been told when you are pregnant, forward your medical report, forward your medical maternity leave to the HR department, so that that's your paper can be processed and you have your approval to go on maternity leave. The paternity leave can be either 2 weeks to or a week after or whatever. It's God that have the actual date of EDD, but have an official approval. But what do you see most times? Most of the staff, they don't want to follow. I don't know. And speaking from my own point of experience and so far, you find out that most of the female staff we have around, I don't know, maybe it's cultural, they want to hide that fact. But the question is, those who always speak up, who always engage the admin department or the HR department, they don't have issues. So my own contribution or my own advice is this. Most in our HR officers or manager or directors should make sure every staff, whether during the time of when they are engaged or even when they are still working, they have to sing it to their ears. Please, if you are pregnant, don't hide it to yourself. Feel free to discuss. No company as a human being will be so wicked to say, oh, no, you can't have, like what you rightly said. I don't tell my staff when I give them a letter of maternity leave for the 3 months, I say, look, in case you are pregnant or anything happened, feel free to see us. There's a way we can work around it. Policy is made, and the policy can also be amended. So I want to sincerely thank the organizer of this program, and also to thank you, our speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Thank you for the contributions. Thank you, Madam Ajoke. Yes, what business owners can do. One thing is to lead by example. Business owners can show that they care through valuing and inclusive. We talked about this word inclusive. We talk about it a lot. Here's the time to show it, right? Set KPIs for inclusion, not just productivity. Productivity is good. Inclusion as well is also important. Regular audit practices to ensure fairness. Yes, so that one is not feeling this way, like the experience I shared, and one is being treated this way. Everyone will be treated equally. Support HR teams with tools and authority to implement change. Many businesses don't, and as a result, some businesses even fall into trouble or go into trouble. You will see how in the coming slides. Balancing comparison and productivity, the reality of pregnancy at work. I have mentioned before that it's not easy to be pregnant and work. However, some people are pregnant and they work all through. I have worked in a company, personal experience. If I mention the the I would not like to mention the name of the company, but if I mention the scenario so much, some people on call will get where I was at that point. So I was pregnant, and it was after COVID time, and you know, there were like some companies are still doing hybrid, some were not doing hybrid. So my company happened to be doing hybrid. Do you know that I was pregnant and I never did hybrid in that same company where people were doing hybrid? What was the excuse? I was L&D. The role, I cannot do L&D hybrid. My point was, but L&D, the administrative part is also part of what I do. Can't I do the administrative part at home? Not every day I'm training. I'm not in training every day. There are some things I need to do that I do at home. I can do at home. Not like I'm training every day. I can't train from home, yes, because most of the training then were now physical. And even if they were virtual, I need to still run some things. I was pregnant and I was heavily pregnant doing when I was not heavy. I was still running, then I wasn't even driving. I was jumping from bus to bus, going to submit my ITF proposals and my ITF reimbursement, going to make sure that everything is fixed, training will be done. This will be, I was doing it. Even my director then would say, Deborah, this your stomach is getting long every day. I would laugh. So I was going to work on a daily. While some of my colleagues, not some, all my colleagues that were not pregnant or anything, they were on hybrid, they were doing off and on. I never did off and on. Why didn't I do off and on? My manager. So it wasn't like I didn't want to do off and on. My manager said he cannot approve off and on for me. Even my colleagues were nosing around, like, but you are pregnant now. Even if nobody was doing off and on hybrid, you're supposed to even be allowed to do hybrid. Even if I said, let me do my job like that. I was doing it because maybe because I wasn't falling sick, maybe because I was just very strong and agile at that time. I don't know, but I was not feeling good anyways that my colleagues would do hybrid and I couldn't do hybrid, right? So for me, being pregnant didn't really negatively impact my job. But for a number of people, like I said before, it would. And when we see such cases, we support them. Balancing compassion for expectant mothers with the demands of productivity requires sensitivity, flexibility, and a supportive work culture. So you cannot judge, use my own. Maybe because I'm like that, agile, I was up and down, I was joking. My problem was to eat. I just need food. Give me food. I eat anything called food. Just give me. That was my problem. Even people were like, ah, your people will be big. Look at you are eating too much. I didn't even listen. I kept eating from, all angle. Now, that's my problem. But for other people, the same company, they might be pregnant and falling sick, and you hear some line managers say, are you the first to get pregnant? Didn't Deborah get pregnant? Wasn't she pregnant? Did she give birth? That is part of what we are saying. So we need flexibility, we need supportive work culture, so we don't need to only think of the business. Like I said, we'll still talk about the business, but we also need to look at the human that is responsible for birthing this child, right? It is not easy to balance these two parts, compassion and productivity, but it is also important that we try as much as possible because we HROs, we are looking at productivity, even production units, looking at productivity, what is coming out. We're not looking at compassion. If she's sick and she's pregnant, she's the first person. I beg. That is what it is. But how pregnancy can affect company productivity, especially in small business, is what I want to look at right now. Then I'll dive in back a bit on the pregnant people and single ones again. Then we'll have a closure, right? So now, why pregnancy is natural, like I said before now, it is beautiful. It is a nice thing. It is not a sickness. It is not bad, right? It's also true that it can have temporary operational impact. Yes, I said it. So for business owners on call, or for small business, especially small business owners, they're like, all this pregnancy. Yeah, am I opening my business for pregnant people now? Won't I? I understand. So this is your part now, right? These are common workplace impacts that it will shake the business, especially small. Don't forget, I'm saying especially small businesses, because there are some businesses that are not small businesses. They're actually big, grown enough, and they can handle this support effortlessly, right? They can handle it. While some businesses are very small, they struggle to handle this support, right? Good. So the first thing is absenteeism or reduced hours due to prenatal appointments, fatigue, or health complications. I spoke about a manager that was requesting for the card, the hospital card, appointment card of his subordinates just to attend one day in a month. So what is wrong with this manager? This manager is not a bad person, right? This manager is not a wicked manager because that's so wicked of him. No, this manager is thinking one-sided, thinking only about the business. If this girl or this woman or this lady goes off for one day to hospital, how will the business go? The business will suffer. Who will do our job today? This one, this one, this one. That's what the manager is thinking. So he's thinking right, but right at the same time wrong because he's not thinking the both side. He's thinking only one side. So this lady should not go to the hospital, should not check the pregnancy out, and then everything. So we can create a balance, right? So this is the part. That absenteeism is an issue. And if it now goes beyond a day, maybe 1 week, bed rests, that goes beyond what we know, then managers begin to be agitated, business agitated, they are afraid. Modified duties. If the employee can't lift, travel, or perform certain tasks, for example, I am a woman, I work in the, we've talked about being inclusive. So you cannot say woman should not work in the warehouse, right? I work in the warehouse where naturally I can climb the ladder, pick things up, or climb the ladder, do my stock counting. I can do a number of things like that. Because I'm pregnant, I cannot do that because I can get up the ladder and you know my eyes goes the other way and I fall. That's another casualty, right? So because of that, I can't perform such tasks anymore. I may not be able to travel. In fact, even if I want to travel, I may not be allowed. I remember one of my pregnancies, I want to, because I used to have big tummy. So once I'm 3 months, the world thinks I'm giving birth the next month. So I was pregnant. It wasn't even up to 6 months. It wasn't up to 6 months. I had to go to Abuja for my international passport. See immigration. Madam, you cannot travel, oh. You cannot travel, oh. I was like, I look at my doctor's report, look at my pregnancy history. There's nothing wrong with me. Apart from that, I've not even reached the month not to travel. So why are you stopping me? They found it difficult, but my stomach was really big. So they thought I'll give birth in the airplane. So things like that, if I was really like up to 6 or more than 6 months at that time, now my job requires me to travel. I cannot travel. So you see why the managers will feel pregnant? Why? You see why they will feel that way. Why the business owners, especially small businesses, will feel, oh, heart attack. Like, am I going to die right now? You know, because they know the condition right now. They cannot do those things, right? Temporary productivity dips. As the employee slows down towards delivery or returns from maternity leave, this would happen. So this would happen when, for example, after 4 months of leave or 3 months, you come back, you need to still balance yourself. In fact, your going and coming now would be, you'll be feeling it for the first. I have a friend who recently, I called her this afternoon, she's a Christian sister, and I said, "What's wrong with your voice?" So apparently she has been remote for 4 months, just 4 months, just like maternity 4 months. She has been remote work for 4 months. And I said, "Your voice is not clear. Why are you talking like this?" She says she's feeling sick. I said, "No, sorry, I didn't know you are sick." She said, "I'm trying to cope. This going to, because she got a new job now and she's now, you know, on site full time. She just resumed last week and she's like, this on-site work, hey, it's giving me hey, it's not easy. I'm trying to balance." She's not pregnant, but she's feeling that way. So now a pregnant person nurturing a baby now, she's not nurturing a baby. This person is nurturing a baby at night during the day and has to come to work after the 3 months or 4 months. You see that the balance will still not be there. That will cause a productivity dip. Yes, we understand. And for the business, it's not good. Team workload pressure. Now, all the pressure will do what? Might come back to the team or be on the team, especially in lean teams. That's why I said, especially in small businesses, in lean teams where one person's absence has reaping effects. Yes. So at that point, if I'm not around, my other person will do all my job and it's going to be tiring to that person, doing it alone. Costs of temporary cover or hiring a replacement. That's also a problem. So if we talk about team workload pressure, you can say, okay, but they can hire someone. It's expensive. It's not that expensive like I'm saying, but I mean it's a cost to the business. And no business wants to generate costs. They don't want more costs. They want instead more profit. So if you are saying, even if you are paying the person 80K, 100K, 80K or 100K in 4 months, it's money. It's money. And in 5 months, because the person should come, let the other person, the person is going to cover, put them through and like that. So it's not easy. This may cause strain financially for the business, especially in the small businesses. Why this can be tough on small business? Limited HR structure and financial margins. You see the gentleman, I think he's looking at financial status or bank reconciliation statement, or he's thinking of how, he's frowning, he's not even happy about the news of Mrs. Lagbaja is pregnant. Because he's already thinking, who is going to do this person's job? Who is going to, in case of this, a lot of things is going around, the business, the mind of the business owners, which is fair enough, which is understandable. So we cannot say, hey, I'm pregnant now. Can't you understand that I'm pregnant? We can't put it that way. We would see also things to do to create a balance. Harder to redistribute workload, to redistribute workload is not easy because one person may not understand what the other person is doing because of the nature of the business. So it's not easy to then say, B, do what A is doing. Uncertainty around how long the leave would last or how performance might be affected. Yes, there is uncertainty. You can't say, okay, it's 3 months leave. After 3 months, the person will return. Some people don't return. So I have an employee who gave birth. So it's the first child. We gave her 3 months leave, which is normal. And we're expecting her to return after 3 months. She didn't return. Nothing happened to her. She didn't die. The baby did not die. Everybody is fine. But she left the job because she said she would not be able to cope with nurturing of a baby going to work. She didn't mention before she left for the leave. We'll have already gotten someone during that period to replace, but immediately she was supposed to return, she mentioned. So that's why the uncertainty will be there. Will this person return? Are we sure she will return? Will all go well? Even some get jobs. I have one, yes, I remember now, that had a job. Immediately she returned. She returned. She returned like today. And 2 months, 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks, or a month, I don't think it was a month, up to a month, she dropped a letter of resignation. She's moving to another company. So what would you do at that point? Would you say you must not go? You can't say that. So those are the uncertainties. Some people will leave from there to other companies without coming back. So those are the things that make business owners draw back in the support. But we still need to support anyways. Why support still matters, even after all this I've mentioned, and why it's worth it. Despite all the challenges that I've mentioned, businesses that respond with empathy and structure reap long-term loyalty. Yes. So not all the time that many people who go on maternity leave do resign from there. Some, like that my friend I mentioned, that is no longer in Nigeria right now, that gave birth, came back with pregnancy. She was very loyal to the company, and at the end of the day, she was like, for this company to do this for me, some companies will not agree. They will even want to cut your salary. I would not. She was very loyal. Like she was very, even when she left the company, she was still like recommending. She was always, eager to talk positive about the company. Why? Because of the support she received during the first pregnancy. She went on leave for 4 months and she came back with pregnancy. She was still supported and she went on leave again. So these people are also for brand equity, for staff retention. It is very good for the business. Supporting pregnant women or employees is never a waste. Not just pregnant women, single employees is not a waste. Supporting them through what they are facing, how they are facing it, and making it worth it for them. Not making them feel less of a human because they are single or because they are pregnant, just being nice to them. It's a smart investment. If you ask me, it is a smart investment if you look at it very well. A few would not appreciate, yes, we are humans, while a lot would appreciate. Okay, number one point here is reduce turnover. Replacing staff costs more than supporting them. That is why this support still matters. It reduces turnover because when they are now very loyal, staying put, that what they did for me, the way they supported me, I didn't believe it. This company is more like a family now than a workplace. They are likely to stay. You will not have a number of turnovers in them, right? It will be reduced. Increase employee loyalty, like I mentioned before, especially when they feel supported. When they feel supported. Positive workplace culture. Others will now seeing the way you treat. I was in the master class, ITF master class trainer workshop last week, the 3 days workshop. And something like this came up, and somebody was like, it doesn't matter on exit. So we're talking about exit, and said when there's retirement stage, that they do have a support system for those retiring from the company. They support them, they advise them, they have coaches for them, because some leave and don't know what they are doing, don't know where they are going. They're like, okay, after work, what next? They are confused. So they have, and somebody raised to say, but it doesn't really matter. How does that contribute to my business? And the facilitator then mentioned that people who see what you are doing would see the way you are treating your staff when they are retiring. They are most likely to stay put. It's psychological. They will say, oh, if they are doing this for these people, they are retiring. So it means that if I now state retirement, they will do this for me. But if you are doing the other way, they don't feel safe. People that have not even reached half retirement age are the ones that will first say, so if this one that have stayed how many years and is retiring now, they are not even treating him well. They are not treating her well. Me, that I'm Gen Z or millennial or no, or escape Gen Z, is it me they will treat well? I'm leaving. They will start looking for it. Doesn't concern them, but the way they see you treat others would also, so that is positive workplace culture. People will see how you treat others and then feel, I also mentioned to them in that training that I once worked somewhere. I didn't mention it was a bank. I didn't mention the name of the bank, and I will not mention here. So I joined the bank as an LSP through third party, and I met people on ground in that bank who were third-party staff as well for 8, 9 years. They have not been fully staffed. They are graduates like myself. Nobody told me to resign and look for something better. I didn't even use 1 year because I felt that I'm a graduate like these people. I don't have 2 heads. I have just 1 head. So I'm still going to stay here for 8, 9 years just as these people are. So it's just the mindset. It's just that way because they were productive, they were doing greatly. If not, they'll be sacked, right? So I felt that when I quickly resigned. So that's normal. Stronger employer reputation. Yes, especially in a world where culture matters to talent and customers. So it will help. So that is why it is important that we still maintain support despite the challenges that we see when there is support, when people get pregnant in businesses, especially small businesses, right? So now I said I will speak about this. How can businesses, how small businesses can cushion the impact? Number one way is to plan proactively. Mr. Patrick mentioned something, communication. It's on the both sides. You are pregnant for 1 month. Maybe you're pregnant, your stomach don't sincerely. You know, your line managers are not witches and wizards. Your director is not a witch. She might see you every day. You might even be vomiting. You might be sick of malaria. For all we care. Can you have that communication? Can you have that conversation? Right? So even with small businesses, can you have the conversation with this person who is pregnant that must have tendered or that did not even tender and you got to know? Can you call that person to a meeting, a brief, and say, we notice this, we notice that, okay, you're pregnant, how do we help you through? Okay, these are maternity policy. Then after this, what are you doing next? What is the plan? So that you would earlier, because pregnancy is not 1 month and you give birth or one day, it's 9 months journey. So you should start planning from maybe 4th or 5th month on the cover, right? Even with only few staff, there's still a way to work around it. Start transition plan early, like I've said. Looking at timelines, handover, okay, quickly finish up. That's why communication is important and key. Involve the employee in this. Creating a plan for delegation or rule adjustments would also help. So if B doesn't know what I am doing, maybe it's a small business, I single-handedly handle this. Do we have enough as a small business to get an intern for the 3 to 4 months or 5 months? If we don't have money to pay this intern, do we have a plan where this person's responsibility could be divided into 3, and she, before she leaves, she could put these 3 people through on her deliverables? Do we have that plan? We can talk about it earlier and not just come like, we are unaware. 9 months pregnancy has grown. She's giving birth now. So because of that, we'll not even support. Because of that, she's not supposed to go on maternity leave. Because of that, she'll be called during maternity leave. That would not be fair enough. Okay, so this is one thing that could help the business. Another thing another thing that could help is to cross-train. So don't forget the word cushion. It doesn't mean that it will mean that everything will run as it is or as it were when the job owner or the person who handles those tasks were there. It may not run that way. However, these tips are just cushion for small business owners. Train others on basic tasks, the pregnant employee, and I've said that before. Build a coverage buddy system so no tax is left stranded. I've said that before as well. Okay. Okay. So how small businesses still? The next one, we can use temporary or part-time help and be flexible. Like I talked about interns, that's what this slide is talking about. Interns or people who contract workers to say, okay, this contract is for 4 months, you know. You can also look at flexibility. You can adjust schedules for this person, so that everything would work in line. So it will be more of like a win-win. The business is not losing because somebody is, giving birth to a child, and somebody is not killing herself or being distressed or falling into coma or falling into some, disturbing moments and things that could be avoided, complications that could be avoided as a result of work pressure. So let's do a win-win, right? With this that I have here, it would definitely help business owners. Create culture of shared responsibility and empowerment. That's also a way. Create a culture of shared responsibility. If we encourage team spirits as HR, as business owners, where other people can support rather than resentment, it starts from the head. It starts from the HR. If you create that culture, then people are willing to, help out, goodwills, and to reduce resistance. People are not saying, when I was pregnant, did they even, they say, I beg, I'm not ready for pregnancy discussion because she's pregnant and so what? I cannot do somebody's job. Oh. People would, if you create that culture before time, people would willingly be ready to support. Be willingly. They will not even ask for additional pay or anything, right? Empowerment in action. Supporting pregnant employee does not mean productivity must suffer. That is what small businesses must know. It doesn't mean if we support a pregnant employee, we encourage, we smile to them, we give them a day out of a month to go for their checkups. If the doctor requests them to maybe have a rest, we say, okay, work from home. That will make the business suffer. No, it's not necessarily going to make the business suffer. It means approaching the situation with strategic planning, open dialogue, and a heart of people or the hearts for people. Because when people feel cared for, they often go above and beyond. Yes, they go above and beyond. I would mention in my case, I said I would always use myself as a case study because I'm a veteran mom, right? Yes. So in my case, when I was pregnant, I was once pregnant in a company where there was there was support, right? As a result of this support, I was pregnant and I was still ready to go above and beyond. We had this role to recruit for, right? The role was not in Lagos. It was not a Lagos role. I took the pain to travel with that pregnancy. And I wasn't asked to do that. Anyways, I just told my manager that, what if I use this route? Because we've been trying to hire the role for months and we are not getting, we've used um, outsourcing guys, we've used consulting firms to get this role. They are not getting it. We've used like three or four consulting companies. They're not getting the role. It's a technical role. I said, okay, let me go. In my pregnant state, in fact, the first time I had to drive myself out of Lagos. It was the second time when I came back, I told my manager, I can't drive again. What I saw on the road is not what I can do. I can't drive. The next one I'll be going, I need a driver. Then I was assigned a driver to drive my car. I didn't request for, nobody asked me to do that, but I was ready to do what? Go above and beyond. Why? Because I see the love, I see the support, I feel the care. But in a situation whereby nobody's care, I wasn't cared. Me too, I'm not caring. If the role they cannot fit it, if as first a consulting firm cannot fill role, who am I? I have tried. I couldn't feel it. Consulting firm cannot feel it. Let's be looking at it. In my mind, I won't say it out. But I was willing to. So this also can promote, you know, a lot of good positive vibes, supporting. Maternity protection under Nigerian labor law. This part will cover maternity protection under law, with the main reference being the Labour Act chapter 1.1, right? Now, the key legal provisions, maternity leave duration. According to the maternity leave duration, a female employee is entitled to 12 weeks of maternity leave. And if you look at it very well, many of our companies do more than this, right? They do more. Also on the salary, they do more than this and they do better. So that's also part of support. Key legal provisions, eligibility and job security. So when you are on maternity leave eligibility, the employee must have worked at least 6 months. That's what it says before they can be given this provision. And it's illegal to dismiss a woman because of pregnancy or while she's on maternity leave. So this is where, or part of why companies are also like holding back, because they can't dismiss you at that point, even if you are vomiting every day in the office. They can't say we dismiss you, we sack you based on pregnancy, right? They're not allowed to do that. Key legal provisions, again, no discrimination clause. The Act discourages discrimination based on gender or pregnancy, right? Although it doesn't elaborate in model DEI terms. Best practices. So whenever we talk about law, you can say some companies will like, hey, this is what the law said now. Yes, this is what the law said. Let's use the law. But in some areas where the law doesn't suit the company or the HR professional at that point, they'll say, okay, we can tweak it. This is what our policy say. They'll go back to their policy. They don't look at the law anymore. So beyond the legal requirements, there are best practices. The HR-led initiatives can provide additional support and empowerment, right? Not everything is legal, or law. We are humans. Having that, legal requirement is saying 12 weeks. We can offer flexible extension or remote options if visible. So somebody is saying, I gave birth to twins. There was a time when I gave birth to my twins. Thank God where I was working, I had 4 months, and one of my colleagues said, you are supposed to be given 8 months. Oh. I said, why? You have to wait. 4 months for 21, 4 months for 22. So I was like, oh, this is nice. They should give me 8 months. We just joked. So now what I'm saying is situations differ. Some people can give birth to preterms, that's babies that are not up to term, right? At that point, she might need more time. Can we be flexible? So the legal requirement is not saying 12 weeks leave, but if there is a problem or if there is give more. It didn't say that. But humans, can we empower that opportunity? Can we encourage that? Yes, we can, right? 50% salary minimum, consider full pay, and which many companies do. No dismissal, ensure anti-bias training and fair treatment, even when there's no dismissal. Because no dismissal, but when there is a training session or you want to send people for training, she cannot go, she's pregnant. Oh, she's single, she cannot go. People are segregating, people are marginalizing meetings, outings, hangouts, trainings, just because discussions, oh, she's pregnant, she's single, she doesn't know what we are saying. These are things, unfair treatment. No direct paternity leave, create internal support for fathers. I mentioned a colleague who run night shifts with the wife. We should encourage that of our boys, of our male child, right? To support their spouses, female, right? So we should not say, so the man should now not support because there's no leave. So we should create something like that for them as well. No policy for single parents. Include them in caregiving policies and benefits. Make it inclusive. The human touch. The law gives us the minimum. I want us to look at this very well. I have mentioned this in passive, right? The law gives us minimum. HR gives us human touch. While Nigerian labor law provides some protection for pregnant workers, it's silent on the deeper issues of stigma, bias, and emotional well-being, especially for single or unmarried employees. That's where our work begins as people leaders. No stigmatization at all, whatsoever. Lead with empathy and intention. Be an intentional professional HR. Be intention in your relationships, in your dealings, in your doings. Don't be biased. Don't create that avenue. Don't create that culture of being biased. Maybe this one is a black, or this one is a white, or this one is my friend, or this one is. Create that, as HR professionals and business owners, we have the opportunity to go beyond compliance. We have that power. We have been given that power to go beyond compliance and lead with empathy and intentions. The speaker that spoke about a topic yesterday that related to this support system as well, I remember vividly because I listened to the recording. I couldn't attend because I was in a function. And I remember vividly where she said she had to go to the management for a particular colleague of hers who is over 40 or in her 40s, got married and got pregnant, and she was happy for her because getting pregnant at that time was not so easy because of the age, issues. And she got pregnant, she was very happy. Complications set in, and she had to come to work on a Friday where she's supposed to go to maternity, sorry, that's antenatal, and she stays far. She needed to register where the husband is, Ogun State. She works in Lagos, so she cannot shuffle at all. It wasn't easy. So she explained all the ordeal to this HR professional. The HR professional picked it up with the management, and the management supported this lady with fully remote. So win-win. She's working from home. She's not physically in the office. The work is going on. She's going for her antenatal and no complications. She later gave birth. Madam Ajoke mentioned late today about what happened to her too, and how the company then HR would always move. So let us not lead with she have given birth before. Like me, I can say I'm a veteran now, and tomorrow I'm leading HR team. I'm leading a big company, and I'm saying, I gave birth to my first, second, third, fourth, fifth. What are you saying? Are you the first? That would come up because during my pregnancy, I didn't feel all those things, right? I didn't have complications, I didn't feel anything, right? So I'm feeling other women should also feel the same way. What is that? Don't feel that way. Or because you have not given birth, maybe you have not tried it, you have not given birth yet, you still give birth later. And you feel, what's there? Shade, this one gave birth, this one gave birth. No. We as a child, we have the opportunity to go beyond compliance. Even when the policy is saying ABC, if there is policy, we made the policy like Mr. Patrick said. We can tweak the policy, right? And lead with empathy and intentions. Thoughtful policy, open conversations, we cannot overemphasize those points. We have talked about it. Support these employees. Supporting these employees doesn't require big budgets. It doesn't really. It's not going to cause so much loss. Being open, having open conversation, just thoughtful policies, open conversation, and a culture that values people is very key. Building empowering workplace. Now, ask yourself this question, everyone on call. Would a pregnant or single employee feel respected and supported in your workplace? HR professionals, this is a rhetorical question. Ask yourself. I'm not asking for an answer. I'm not saying say yes or no, right? Would a pregnant single employee feel respected and supported in your workplace? If the answer isn't a confident yes, in your mind, then that's where your leadership starts. Let's start from there. Let's not wait for complaints to act. Let's lead with change, building workplace that moves people from marginalization to empowerment. Let's not wait until employees are harmed before we act. Really, it can be complicated. Say the employee keeps asking for a day off, for a day off, for a day off. We are thinking only on productivity, and the employee slumps, and the report is there. Are you sure your company can pay the damages? Are you sure it's a good thing to know that company XYZ, a pregnant woman died there or slumped there? Are you sure it's a good brand name? If you think so, right? HR that have HR has the power, and responsibility to shape workplace where everyone, regardless of their marital or maternal status, can strive. My final thoughts. True inclusion means supporting people not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. Let's choose support over stigma. Let's choose empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deborah. That was an excellent presentation. If anybody have any final contributions or comments, please, if you raise your hands, we'll be happy to hear while we wait to see if anybody has any comments or contributions.
Do we have any questions, contribution to make to this topic? Two people are raising up their hands. I can't see them. Let me drop. Dr. Yemi, can you see them? Okay. Okay. Titi Lokbe, you are raising up your hand.
Yes, thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you for this session. Quite impactful, I must say. And good evening, everyone. So ahead of the comments and contributions, I'd just like to recognize the presence of the head of civil service or your state. She has joined this call since the beginning and she's still on the call. Mrs. Olubumi Oni MNI, we appreciate your presence and we say thank you for joining. And we look forward to having more of your time and valuable contributions on this webinars, ma. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma.
very much for joining. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Chigozie, your hands are up. Chigozie, you can unmute and speak. Okay. Michael Elliott, you can unmute and speak. Michael, am I being heard?
Yes, you are audible. Maybe they are having network issues. We can hear you
Oh,
clearly.
maybe. Ajoke. Oh, sorry. Dolapo. Dolapo is raising up. Dolapo, you can speak.
Hello. Good evening. Can you hear me, Zama? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Elliot. Go ahead, Elliot. We
Okay.
can hear you.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. And Deborah, this is a paper well presented, though a man, but yet I gained so much, and I made up my mind by and by to always put in the support for all our single ladies and also the pregnant women in my office. My own is a contribution. I remember a colleague of mine, a female colleague of mine, that were supposed to be promoted at the same time, and because she's pregnant and she's going for a 6 month or 3 month pregnant that period of leave, so she could not get a promotion then, and she was very very worried. And I follow up on her. I called her. I sent her message. I said, you know what? You go first. After delivery, you come back to work. I'm so sure that the CEO then was considering you going on leave and getting a promotion. It's not going to be anything meaningful to the office at this moment. We know you are hardworking. Don't be discouraged. Just go for your leave. After your leave, when you resume, I am very sure they will consider you. And we just have, and she listened to me, believing in what I said, and she left. So by the time she removed, it was around June, and by July, our promotion was, approved that they should also give her a promotion. So it differs from company to company, because when you started, you mentioned things like, because you are pregnant, you cannot be promoted. I said, oh, I've had this experience before. But in my own case, she got a promotion, but there is 6 months difference between both of us. So that makes me a little bit senior to her, though we are supposed to be at the same rank, but there is a 6 month difference. But she actually gets a promotion. So what am I trying to say is that in some organization, they still honor the fact that pregnant women can still be promoted regardless of what the issue presently. But in our own case, it fall at a time when she needs to go for maternity leave. So that was a little bit delayed. So eventually, it wasn't denied. That's just my contribution.
I think Dolapo can speak now, or Chigoze.
I can speak now. I've been on meeting. Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello.
Good evening. We can hear you.
Oh,
Good evening,
okay.
Dolapo. Go ahead with your contributions. We can hear you.
Okay. So what a great presentation, and have so I have a question. I'm currently in a situation in my company. So there's an employee she's yet to be confirmed, and she's currently pregnant. So I reported the whole situation to the management, and I was advised to, schedule a meeting with the employee. So I don't know, please, can you, educate me on how to handle this situation?
Debbie, you need to unmute. Debbie, you need to unmute. We can't hear you,
Oh,
Deborah. You
okay,
need to
okay. I was
please
muted.
mute.
Yeah, so I was saying, I didn't get you well. Are you saying she's pregnant and she's yet to be confirmed?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what's the problem there? She cannot be confirmed, or she has an issue?
Okay, for the past 2 weeks, she has been hospitalized, which have been calling to check in on her health and the whole situation on how to support her. So the MD advised that maybe she should be placed on leave, but currently she's not even eligible for the leave. Based on our policy, you have to be confirmed before you are eligible to leave. That's 6 months confirmation. But currently she joined the company, let's say 4 months, approximately 4 months ago. So I don't know how to handle the situation. Like, I really do not understand how to handle the situation, because I'm even supposed to meet her tomorrow. I've scheduled a meeting with her tomorrow. So I would appreciate if you can, educate me on how to manage the whole situation and to also support her.
Okay, so I would say a few things before I call in my senior colleagues, of course, on call. Now, when we talk about confirmation, it's not based on maybe you're pregnant or you felt pregnant along the line. It is about your performance on the job. So, is she performing on the job? Has she been performing before this, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks on sick? Which anybody, even if she has been confirmed, she can be sick because she's pregnant, which is normal for some people. So, has she been performing? That is what we are basing our perform her confirmation on. We are not going to base it on because she's sick for 2 weeks, which anybody can be sick, even if you're not pregnant, you can be sick. So we cannot withhold her confirmation because she's pregnant and sick, or because she's sick. That should be better. Because she's sick, no. So if she has been performing, fine. If she has not been performing, you can then say, okay, we can extend probation period. We extend the probation period by your advice to extend. But you can't just based on my knowledge, you can't just agree to or do whatsoever to say let's not confirm her now, let's delay because she's sick, she's not coming to work, so let's delay her confirmation. So I would also like my senior colleagues on call to please make an input to this question. Okay, I see it. Okay. Okay, Miss Dr. Yemi said this type of question. Okay. I'm trying to see if anyone has addressed, but if you want to have any answer, if you want to add to this answer, please, you can speak.
I
Okay,
dropped
Dr.
my
Emi even
thoughts in
said
the chat
something.
box already.
Yes, yes, he said confirmation is about meeting minimum job performance. Yes. More like what I said, is about meeting the job performance. So if
Yeah.
she's not performing, she's not performing. If she's performing, she can be sick. That's okay. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. And maternity leave is statutory. It's not subject to your internal policy. Is a Nigerian law. So it's not whether your MD likes it, your management likes it or not. And as such, maternity leave does not have anything to.
Yeah, true.
Maternity rights are conferred on her by the labor law, and it's not tied to her marital status. Neither is it tied to her employment status, whether she's contract, she's full-time employee, she's single. No. And that's one of the reasons why we are having this kind of conversation, so that we can enlighten each other and we can guide our leaders and our business managers right. Because if the person has the courage and the resources to sue, you may be shocked and surprised that they will win the case, and they will also get compensated by the court. And then the organization can lose reputation in the marketplace. Once something goes to court, it becomes a public record that you can never delete again. And other people in future who have 2, 3, 4 job offers, and your organization is one of them, they may drop your organization once you have that kind of negative record in your history. I don't know if the Olapo still wants to speak. Your hands are still up. And then Uncle K, and then we'll take closing remarks from our facilitator. Uncle K, you have the floor, please. Okay. And JK, you are also free to chime in and contribute.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adeosun. Thank you. You have actually expressed everything I wanted to say, because I guess where the lab was coming from is to know if they can continue to pay her salary or not, because she was going to be due um, um, before her confirmation, and to know if she will be eligible for that paid maternity leave. So, I mean, you have actually dealt with the question thoroughly. Um, as long as you saw her, she was pregnant, and you cannot deny her appointment based on her pregnancy or her status. You can't deny that, and you've given her that job before the confirmation period. She was doing well. There was no record, from what Dolapo said, no record of poor performance. There was no issue of that. So please, Dolapo, I would advise you to guide your management that
the lady should be allowed to enjoy her full maternity leave. Please, if you do paid work, pay her fully for those periods she'll be on maternity leave. When she comes back, you may then, you know, allow her complete her probation period of maybe the remaining 2 months that is remaining for her to be confirmed. Then confirm her subsequently after that. Okay, but please allow her enjoy her full maternity period. And at this point, I may just chip in a something, tell me a small remark that we should also be very careful at the workspace of the kind of comments we pass around pregnant women. Um, I mean, people should be careful also the kind of jokes they pass around. It could be termed as insulting or derogatory, or you know, there's a word I'm looking for, stigmatizing. Okay, so please, I think we should also be really, really sensitive to the kind of choice of jokes or how we qualify pregnant women um, on the job. It's a very sensitive uh, situation. We don't want to be in law court answering for something that somebody might take really, really personal about that. So thank you so much, Deborah, for this very insightful and enlightening representation. Thank you, Dr. Adeosun.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Madam JK, you wanted to speak. You can still speak, please. Madam Ajoke, please, you can speak.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. And thank you, Deborah, again. This has been a very great session for me. I'll say three things very quickly so I can quickly go to bed. Number one, I want to talk about that performance makes a difference. It's very important too. The business owners are looking at you from the lens of that, okay, what have you even contributed and why do I need to start paying you this money if you have not even worked? So I will say for women on the call that it is very critical that when you're showing up with your best foot forward. I mentioned earlier that where I was, I spent almost 5 months on maternity leave, but the HR went to make a case for me. Because of me, we now have a policy that says that you can take your leave for next year ahead, just to make sure that your life is easier and you're getting your full pay. But of course, because of that kind of support, I was there for my second child. And I did my utmost best to make sure that while I was at work, I did everything I could. So when it was time for me to go for the second child, of course, I didn't go any then. I waited to maybe 2 weeks because my tummy was not big. I made sure that I did everything. And I know that one of the comments they made was that, after all, we know that if you're at work, you will do what needs to be done, not like some other people. So if you perform, it's difficult for a top performer to want to go on mat leave or to get pregnant and there are issues. I'm not saying there are not some bad or toxic bosses, but first of all, do the needful. Make sure that your record is intact. Then number two, strategic HR. I am very empathetic with them pregnant women because of what I went through and because I got favor where I was when I was pregnant. But I also put my eyes on the management that the first thing they are looking at is profitability. So if somebody is going to be away, if somebody is going to leave gaps in the system and it is SME, one of the things that we could do is lead with compassion and compliance. Look at how you can support the business. So in my own case, I had a lady who was maybe 7 months pregnant. She was having issues coming and going, and she was not due for maternity leave. The first thing my boss even said was that even when she was not pregnant, she was never coming regularly. So I don't understand why you're making a case. Eventually, we had to get an intern, like Deborah had said, an intern that was smart, that could actually fill in for her and work while she started working from home. So number two is strategic HR. It is not enough to show empathy to the employee and meet the management. Also go with a solution that, okay, we need to make an exception, but in the case of this person, this is what we can do differently. The intern was maybe 80K or 100K, so it wasn't so much of a business impact. Then lastly, I want to talk about this issue of somebody who gets pregnant. When I joined one of my previous organizations, it was zero payment until you are 6 months because they were aware of the labor law. They said, well, you need to be 6 months where you're eligible. That if you're pregnant after 4 months, we're not paying you nothing. After the back and forth, empathy, consideration, my boss shifted and said, okay, we'll do 50%, which is a minimum if you're less than 6 months. Of course, you take your battles carefully. For me, that was at least a first one. It's better than getting nothing. So for the lady that asked this question, if you have policies in place that have been clearly stated that, okay, if you're 0 to 6 months or unconfirmed, it's 50%. You wouldn't need to fret over this because at the point of onboarding, you already let them know that, okay, if perchance you get pregnant, we are not discriminatory, but we have a policy that says minimum number of months you need to do before you can get your full pay is, for example, 6 months. So if you don't have policies, after your discussion with that, you need to put the policies in place. Either you're doing full pay for unconfirmed, 50%, whatever it is, let it be documented so that you are guided for subsequent cases. So it's not as if the next person that is pregnant, you need to have another talk, you need to have another issue. All you'll be doing is communicating that this is what our policy says, and then give them the support that they need. Thank you, everybody. And thank you once again, Deborah. It's been a great one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam. Okay.
I think Titi
I
also
think,
wants to say something. Meanwhile, Debbie, I dropped a question for
Yes,
you
sir.
in the chat box.
okay.
Titi, go ahead, and then we take
Yes.
closing
All right.
comments from Deborah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Debbie. Well done. And I really had a great time on this call. So Uncle K mentioned something that was like a trigger for me. So I said, yes, let me touch on that. So I also had a very bad experience kind of due to something that happened to me sometime 2016. So what happened, like I had a stillbirth at almost 8 months. So it's a multinational organization and there was so much back and forth, like something like that had never happened to, somebody at my level. Maybe they had an employee with that same experience. It was a call center anyways, a very big call center. So maybe someone at the call center had that experience, but it didn't raise any issue. But for somebody in the support role, it was a big issue. I was not a union member. Union people were talking. Everybody was just like, no, she must have a full 12 weeks. What do you mean? She must have a full. It became a tussle and all of that. At the end of the day, it was my own Oga that was based out of Kenya, Nairobi, that was now giving all sorts of policies, twisting policies here. And I said, no, it will not happen that as long as the baby is not live, I can only take 6 weeks, and that 6 weeks with half pay. Again, I was not a member of the union. It was union that fought that no way. How can you say a member of your team will not get full pay? What are you even saying? Blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, they gave me full pay, but it was just 6 weeks. No wahala. I resumed after the 6 weeks. Guess what? It was my own guy again. He visited Nigeria. The same CHRO was the same person that came and said, so what was all that fuss about? Did you pay the union people? What was that nonsense? Is the baby even alive? And all of that. And then men rose to my defense. I was shocked though. Like I was really shocked. Men rose to really shocked. So seriously, let's mind the comments around pregnant people, single mothers and all of that. Like we really need to mind choice of words around them. I could not even talk when that thing happened. And I was surprised to see that somebody that was just passing by picked the comments and went to spread it. And that man had win before he left. Like seriously. So I completely agree with what Uncle K said, that we should mind comments around, pregnant women or people on maternity and everybody within that bucket. Seriously, let's mind it. Then speaking of SMEs, MSMEs, employees having to embark on maternity leave and all of that, depending on the criticality of that person's role. I think it is important for the HR department or the HR person in charge in that organization to really consider the business seriously. We should consider the business from that angle. The person would have to embark on maternity leave. That is non-negotiable. Now, would there be a reliever for that role? So we need to also consider the business. I see a lot of things happening. I get people asking questions. My colleague is going on maternity leave and my guy is really worried. Her role is very important. We don't know what to do. She cannot work hybrid, because we got wind of the information that she's going to have a CS. So we can't even bother her, but we don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. I think it is important to always consider ahead. Once you see that you have an employee that is pregnant, you know how important that person's role is. Start grooming somebody already so that there will not be stories that are touched. Start grooming somebody already to relieve that person of his or her duties, definitely of her duties when she's away. At least I saw a job post today and I was really happy. An organization seeking for a core member to relieve somebody going on maternity leave. I mean, that's really considerate. That person has considered the businesses, side. That made a lot of sense. And I really wish HR professionals around us would borrow a leaf from that. That made a lot of sense to me. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Dr. Yemi asked, I was laughing when I read. He said, Debbie, please, as a mother of twins, do you think mothers of twins and triplets should get more maternity leave days? Imagine you can recommend to the labor law review panel based on your experience. Okay, so my experience was not so good, even. Yeah. So if I'm going to recommend, if I am to recommend, I would have several reasons, because I have Momo twins, and Momo twins are twins, peculiar twins. They are not normal twins that can get to terms and then you give birth vagina, like in vagina, through your vagina. But my kind of twins are Momo, super identical girls, and the doctor said it cannot get to term. So even if I was okay, I wasn't sleepy, I wasn't, lacking behind, was fine. But your pregnancy is high risk. So when you hear that, you know what happens. So Momo twins, meaning you must get them out by 34 weeks. They are preterm. So we other twins can get to the normal term and normal. So I stayed in the hospital after I gave birth for like 8 days, 7, 8 days. They even stayed in incubator. They are grown now. They are grown, close to 5. So, you know, and it wasn't easy, because at some point I had to, it's like getting depressed, like getting that state of I'm overwhelmed, because I had a toddler, you know, it's not easy. Then these twins, at some that point, they couldn't get BCG. They had to stay in a room with just me to handle them. Nobody can come close for twins day and night. So resuming after 4 months was hectic, but I had to resume anyways. To resume, I came out strong and no issues. So yes, it's a good one. If I had to explain my experience and my ordeal, and to speak to the labor panel to review based on my experience, to be a nice one, because many twins are not complicated and many are complicated, like mine were complicated. So they share Momo twins, meaning they share the same placenta and the same sac. So they can have issue of tying themselves, twin to twin, cutting of blood. One might die if you risk it. So I said, I'm not interested in that risk. 34 weeks, they're out. So that was not a good experience, because they were on the way, yes. And yeah, that was my experience, Dr. Yemi. Okay, so I think we make a close now.
Yes, so thank you so much. Let me just add something in 2 minutes or less. Ladies and gentlemen, as HR professionals, one thing we should do with leave, and especially inclusive of maternity leave, is that it's a developmental window for some other members of staff. Okay. And that's why things like job shadowing, job relieving, and the good thing about leave most of the time is that it is planned. What do I mean? At some point, the person will have started going for antenatal, the person will have formally notified the HR and the line manager of their ED, the all things being equal. So it's not like an emergency. If you know somebody is going to most likely go on leave, a maternity leave in 3 months' time, 4 months' time, let's plan for succession, even at that little level. That succession too will now be a developmental plan. I've seen a situation that it is almost the day the person is going on leave. In fact, let me be honest, I've seen women go on leave without handover, because they will go home today and maybe on their way home or overnight, they will go to the hospital to go and deliver. And sometimes it can cause subtle friction for business or work continuity. So that's why I said don't wait till the last minute. Okay, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. Let the reliever begin to you are copying your reliever in all your meals, taking your reliever along in your meetings. And then that reliever too make sure that doing that, because the other thing I've also seen in some instances is some women will go on maternity leave. When they come back, the workload will be very high on their table. It will almost look like they just pack all the work that don't worry, 3 months will be over, we will come back. Let the reliever be such that 90-80% of the work, if not 100%, they will be able to do it so that that person can also develop their competencies and capabilities. So let us leverage on maternity leave, just like other leave, especially that are like 2 weeks, 1 month, as developmental program for other employees. So we can fit in job rotation, we can fit in temporary job assignments, and so on. You may not like this, but let me also say this. I've worked in places where if you are relieving somebody on maternity, what does that mean? It means you are doing your own job and you are doing the other person's job. They give you like a special allowance. It can be like 25% of the salary of the person who was doing that job. We called it in one of the places I worked, responsibility allowance. The truth is, I already have 100% of my job. Then Deborah is now going on leave, and I'm supposed to do 100% of her job. It will mean I may need to spend more hours at work or carry workload home on my system. So can we also look for a way to incentivize it if it is possible? Even if you say, oh, you can't give the person responsibility allowance, the person may need more data. The person may need more call card. Don't just assume that the person's existing work tool and work resources will be adequate, except you have done a thorough audit and the person relieving was grossly underutilized prior to the time they are now going to relieve. So let's think about it. Okay, let's think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I must thank everyone on this call again. I must thank our facilitator, Deborah Dumbury. I also want to personally and specially thank Mrs. Olubumi Oni, MNI, Head of Service, Oyo State. This is not our first time on this platform. We appreciate your humility and your commitment. We look forward to having you come share with us on any area of HR of your choice around civil service or, private sector or across both sectors at your earliest convenience. We'll work with your time, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'll just allow all of us to unmute now so that we can appreciate our facilitator. At least if you didn't know before, you now know that she's here, Beji. Deborah
Yes, so
Dumbury. Don't be deceived by her beauty. She has, if I'm not mistaken, 5 children, right? Yes, single men in the house. Please look away. She's mommy 5, including mommy twins.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
mommy twins.
Thank you so much. God
Thank
bless
you for
you.
bringing you. God
Wonderful
bless you.
presentation.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir, for giving us this platform.
You are welcome, man. You are welcome, man. Thank you, man.
Bye.